works for, and you are the owner
Yes.
of Forward Inking, which is a screen printing business here in Traverse City. It's been with the business for 5 years. Previous types of jobs include national account manager and store manager for Sprint, a DJ and nightclub manager, and Zamboni driver. Is married to Sarah, has Mufasa, a cat, and Squeakers, who is also a cat. Likes to boat, bike, spend time on Lake Michigan beaches, Petoskey stone hunting. Has lived in Traverse City for 15 years. Would love to drive the Zamboni again someday. And then something no one knows about Byron is he can bend his fingers backwards to
Dr. Brad's like, no, don't do that.
Can you do that one more time?
No.
He
You can do it as many times as you want.
always continuing to learn new techniques of his trade, and never become complacent in its process. Thank you.
Yeah, good morning. So the last time I did a 10-minute presentation, it was mostly about me and my, past career history, that type of thing. And so, I've kind of lived all over the state of Michigan at some point in time. I grew up in Kalkaska. I've lived in Traverse City mostly since the end of high school, with the exception for living downstate for about 4 years. So I started in business back in 2002 while I was still in high school. It was my junior year of high school. Sophomore year of high school, and started a DJ company actually, which I still have to this day. I still do a few weddings every year. I've tried to get out of it, but I just enjoy it far too much. At one point in time, I kind of got out of doing DJing weddings when I did 14 weddings in one summer, which basically, if you know how short summers are in Traverse City, in the wedding season, I was doing like 2 weddings a weekend. It seemed like it took up my entire summer, and I just thought that was kind of the end of it. So, 2010, started a marketing and graphic design company. My business partner is one of the most talented graphic designers I've ever met. And so he and I, with my business background and his marketing and graphic design background, started Lit Image, which we have now rolled those services into Forward Inking. I'm also an owner of High Five Threads, and we're located over in the Grand Traverse Commons. We're a Michigan graphic apparel company there. So High Five Threads is how we got our start, really, between owning Lit Image and High Five Threads. That was, we kind of took those 2 businesses and segued into Forward Inking. We were a little bit fed up. We had High Five Threads for a few years and had been to a few different screen printers around the area, and we just weren't happy or satisfied with the customer service, but also the quality of the product that we were receiving. There's a couple of different techniques in screen printing, and I'm going to talk about those in a few minutes. And everyone in this area was kind of doing the old school, traditional technique of screen printing, and in our opinion, it just wasn't the quality that we were looking for. And we were aware of this other style of screen printing, and that's really what we specialize in now that no one else in this area does. And that's called water-based discharge printing. And it's a very complicated technique that we designed our shop around setting up for that type of printing. So when we had High Five Threads, we were aware of this other style of printing that was out there. These other brands were using it. There's a ton of different screen printers throughout the country that do the type of printing we do, but no one in this region. We went as far as Grand Rapids and Detroit, but being a Michigan brand, we wanted to keep the printing in the state, and we couldn't find really anyone doing what we do. So there's a few more places now since we started Forward Inking 5 years ago in the state that are offering water-based printing, but it's very temperamental, so there's not a whole lot of those out there. So in 2014, we decided to start Forward Inking, and since then we've grown tremendously. We've moved shops, we've doubled physically in size, we've added a bunch of new equipment. When we first started Forward Inking, our idea was that we had created the business so that we could do the majority of our own printing. We started a screen printing company just so we could be our own customer for High Five Threads. And now High Five Threads is one of our smaller customers. We work with some very big brands, but we also do a lot of one-off stuff too. So, just because we work with big brands, breweries and wineries, doesn't mean that we won't take on the 1 or 2 piece or dozen or 2 dozen piece jobs. We do a ton of that stuff too. And we really appreciate that, what we kind of consider filler work, because there's a lot of downtime on the press in between these big jobs where those are the perfect size to run something extra. We're located over on Cass Road. We're in the old Lamar building. It's right across from the University Center. I encourage anybody in here to come visit us. I'd love to give you a tour. I know a few of you have taken a tour of the shop before, but it's pretty cool, especially this time of year. Most of the one-to-ones that we've done so far have been kind of in our slower season, and there's only been a couple of people who have come in while the press is running. But it's really cool to come in on a day that we have the press, going full speed. And our automatic press can print up to 300 shirts in an hour. So it's really quite impressive to see that thing running and how our production team, pulls off these big jobs. So if anybody wants to do a one-to-one at our shop, please let me know. But we now have a couple of salespeople, Steve-O included. He subbed for us a couple of times. So oftentimes if you come to us for a job, either Steve-O or Carly are going to be the ones that take care of you. So what do we offer? And this is really kind of what I wanted to talk mostly about today, is more about the types of products that we offer. I brought a bunch of props and set them up. Should have put the table over here, but there's a ton of things over there on that table on the other side of the room to take a look at after the meeting. A lot of people think screen printing is just t-shirts or hoodies and that type of thing. But as you can see by the products I brought in, screen printing has a lot of different things. We've got bags, there's fanny packs, hats. We can screen print on hats. We also offer embroidery and patches and that type of thing. But then you've got drinkware, glasses, mugs, pint glasses, tumblers, things like that are also screen printed. All of those items go through a screen printing process. And if you've never seen the screen printing process, I wanted to show you real quick what we mean by screen printing and where screen printing gets its name. But these are screens. So, how the print process works with screen printing is you start off, this screen would not have the blue emulsion on it. It's a photosensitive emulsion that reacts to light when it's exposed. So we coat this screen. This would look like, it's just like fine mesh, really. And it's no different than the way like a screen door is made or a screen window. It's just like that type of screen is gonna be a very, very open mesh. And this is a very fine mesh. So whereas like a screen door, you might be at like a 30 mesh count, and that's 30 threads per square inch. This one is 155. So the holes are much smaller, and that allows us to get that detail in there. And so what we do is we coat it with a photosensitive emulsion first, and then there's a negative transparency. There's a transparency that goes over top of it. And then we expose these screens with a 2,000 watt halogen light bulb for anywhere between 5 and 8 minutes. And what happens is anywhere that the light touches, it hardens. Anywhere that transparency is and blocks it out, it keeps that emulsion soft, and we blow that image up. So if you actually look at this through the light, you can see where this is all blocked out and that's all open, and that's where the ink comes through. So that's where screen printing gets its name. So it's really kind of a cool process. This is a screen for shirts and automatic press. This screen, this little guy right here, we do this for our tagger machine, which we can print koozies in-house. This one's set up to do neck tags. So when we're doing the custom labeling for different brands and stuff, we can actually take out the label and we will reprint the new label in there with whatever brand that is, whether it's High Five Threads, Cherry Republic, the Filling Station, any of those brands that want a custom labeled neck tag, we can do that right in-house. And it doesn't require a huge number of shirts either. So if you know somebody that's looking for kind of that custom branding, if they've got their own apparel line and they don't want to make it look like it's a Gildan shirt or a Bella tee or something like that, they want their own name on the inside of the shirt, we're able to do that for them. Oh wow, 10 minutes goes really fast. So one of the major differences, and I'm going to pass around a couple of shirts, is that we do, as I said, water-based and discharge printing versus the traditional style printing. And traditional style printing is going to be really thick and heavy, and this is considered plasticel ink. So you can feel that. And these were the shirts that were kind of the last straw for us when we were using a different printer in town. It just isn't comfortable. It's very thick, heavy, plasticky feeling ink.
Yeah.
And then this is a shirt that we are actually working on. This just came out of our shop yesterday for Timber Ridge, and we custom barcode label it. This one happens to be a sticker barcode label, but that one you can feel the difference in the print. So take a look at that, and if you want something that feels, soft and nice, then that's the way to go. But we do some specialty type of printing too, and this one in particular is one we just did for the filling station, and it does use a traditional plastisol, but this one, they wanted to match their bottle label exactly, and so we used like a metallic ink on this one, which is kind of cool. So that's my 10 minutes. It went by really fast, and if you guys want to learn more about the what we do, I'd be happy to schedule a one-to-one with you and give you a tour of our shop.
Thank you so much.